Hi. This is going to be a real quick and dirty demonstration of how to do Project 1. Now, before you start, make sure that you've looked over the PDF description of Project 1 so you know why it's being done and you know a little bit about the description of it. Why it's being done? Well, the reason is to teach you more about how to get into Pro Tools really fast and get something accomplished with it. Even though you might not be really proficient with it, at least you'll know that, yeah, I can use this tool. The description of it is, well, this is going to be a 30-second radio advertisement, including narration, similar to what you hear me doing right now, and behind that narration, a music bed that fits the mood and also that you can edit a little bit so that it matches the audio of the narration. Okay, one thing, before you start into this project, make sure that you've thought about and written out your narration. You can see I've done that here. Narration needs to be written out in large type. It needs to have the words that you want to say the way you want to say them, with bold and emphasis and speed up and things like that all written down in the narration itself so that you can follow it very well. You need also to have practiced this a number of times. Don't be afraid to make all sorts of motions with your hands and facial gestures. You don't see that when you're doing a radio ad, but you do hear it. Believe it or not, you can actually hear when somebody is making a face like that or making hand gestures. It all comes through in a good radio ad. So, okay, let's get started here. The first thing you have to do is attach your input-output device, the device that converts your audio from the microphone into audio that you can get into the computer. Now, I've got this one. Yours might be different from this, but that's okay. This is an Apogee 1, which is a fairly decent little monophonic sound digitizer. That's attached through the USB port on the back of the computer. And attached to that on the other side is a microphone. In this case, I've got a really inexpensive microphone, dynamic mic. You'll learn more about that later, but it'll work just fine for our purposes. I'm going to get it down about here. You'll probably be able to see it a little bit, but that's okay in this case. So we've attached the I/O device, the analog to digital I/O device, to the back of the computer. We've attached the microphone to the I/O device. Now we're going to go into the computer and look for audio MIDI setup. The only reason I'm going to this, I'm going to open the window here too, is so that we can check and make sure that we're using the correct device. In this case, yes, I'm using 1. You're probably using something else. Could be either by it could be by practically anybody. There are a lot of them on the market, all attached pretty much the same. In this case, I've got this working to output sound and also to input sound. The way you do that, incidentally, is by right-clicking on it and then choosing down here, use this device for sound input and also use this device for sound output. And that'll set it up rather than any of these other choices. And that'll make it so that everything works the way you want it to. Okay, let's turn that off. And now the next thing you're going to have to do, we're not even opening Pro Tools yet, but the next thing we need to do is create a folder on the desktop so that you can put in all the projects that you work on throughout the semester, maybe even throughout the year. Real easy to do that. I'm just going to right-click and say New Folder. Just right-click anywhere on the desktop and say New Folder. When you get that done, click on the name of it down here. I'm going to click and release like that and pull away from it, and that'll highlight the name down here so that I can change it to my name. Do it like this. Just type in your first name and your second name. And there you go. You've got a folder where you can put everything you want for the rest of the semester. Okay, now we're finally ready to open up Pro Tools. And in order to do that, we're going to go down to the taskbar down here. Click on the Pro Tools icon and wait for it to go through the loading process. It's got to load up a lot of sub-programs in order to make the thing work.